Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Big East Collegiate regular season, as we are about to witness even more amazing League of Legends action.
We've got one heck of a match for you coming up. St. John's fighting for their playoff lives, looking to find a win against Villanova, who's looking dominant and for the first place spot.
And we're going to see if they're going to be able to repeat the job only done by one team so far this season. Let's take a win up against Villanova here. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you so much as we got through that delay. I'm in Verum. That's D-Gon.
We made it!
We made it through!
We got through the delay, and now we're ready to go with one of the most pivotal matches and critical matches we've seen so far in this season. Someone's playoff line is on the line right here, and that's St. John's. The Red Storm need to come up with a win here against Villanova to have any chance of slotting into that fourth and final playoff spot.
Absolutely, and if you're just joining us or are unfamiliar with this tournament format as a whole, take a look at this video, breaking it all down.
So here's how it works. 7 teams representing the Big East schools will compete in a single round-robin best-of-2 regular season. Each match day will consist of 2 games against the same school. The standings are reflective of their game score. From there, the top 4 teams from the regular season will seed into a single elimination best-of-3 bracket. Whoever makes it into the finals of that slugfest will advance to the College League of Legends Championships play-in, where they will have the chance to advance to the CLOL National Championship. There, they will have the chance to cement their place among the greats of Collegiate League of Legends.
Well, as you can see here by the standings, DePaul finally found a loss in our earlier matchup.
They didn't find a loss. They were given a loss by Butler, who found a win. And it looked like they almost had another opportunity for the second one, but DePaul's top laner, Brownman Darius, turning it on and showing his MVP quality and dragged DePaul to a 9-1 record, which means Villanova has an opportunity here against St. John's to be the #1 seed going into it. And St. John's needs to find this win to get into the playoffs.
Not only do they need to find 1 win, they need to find 2 here. They need to win both of these games if they have any chance of moving on into the playoffs. So we keep talking about how there's a lot on the line for them here. Keep in mind, this is St. John's first season. They're joining the Big East Collegiate, world for the first time this season. And they've improved so much over the course of it. It's really impressive to see how this team has developed.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that has to do with their mid laner. It did swap out a little bit at first before it was left for Egg. Now it's one of the Woshi brothers, Woshi Feiji Lu, I believe.
I believe so.
And so through his play, he's come in, filled those shoes while left for Egg had to sit out a couple games. Now they have an opportunity in striking distance in their inaugural season in the Big East Conference to find a victory.
We actually got a chance to sit down and talk with one of their players earlier on the break, Basham, who gives some insight on what it's like to play in front of a live crowd for the first time as well as the season as a whole. I'm here with Basham, who's in the middle of what sounds like an amazing viewing party going on over there at St. John's. Hello and welcome. How does it feel to be in the midst of so much awesome school spirit and pride supporting you guys over on the squad and supporting your team here in this match?
It really feels great. It's a lot bigger turnout than we expected, because you normally think 100 people are going to come watch you live in person play League of Legends, right? This is all new experience to all of us, and we're really happy and excited for it.
All right, so this is your first time in the league, also your first time playing in front of an audience. Are the nerves creeping up? What kind of weird new things are you feeling?
Well, we're feeling really confident in today's matches, so the nerves aren't really there. Of course, it's new though, because we don't usually play in front of so many people. But I think we're okay. We're not too nervous.
So obviously this is a pretty important match here for you guys. There's a lot on the line with this one. A lot of playoff stuff still kind of up in the air. Obviously you mentioned there's not still a lot of nerves. You're feeling really confident. Does that have to do with the prep and the strategies that you've got going into this? Do you have some, without giving anything away, do you have anything in mind for this match?
We just really think we've been improving every week, and just at the point we're at, I feel like we can really just turn it around. We're hoping for a 2-0 today, obviously, which would give us the best chance for making playoffs. And yeah, we're excited because we did a lot of prep. We have our meetings. We did enough to win this match.
What's it like playing for the Red Storm of St. John's over in Queens and representing your school in the first ever tournament? How do you rate your season so far?
We definitely had our ups and downs, but I think overall every week we came in, improved, played our best, talked about it, and we're really just excited for today. Could be our last matches together. Hopefully not.
Well, it sounds like there's a lot of great energy going over there. Hopefully that energy can translate into your play. Best of luck in this match, and thanks so much for chatting with us. Good luck to you and all the crowd over there at St. John's.
All right, thanks, man.
Well, it's great to hear that, they're feeling confident, feeling ready, and I don't want this to be our last game. That's so heartbreaking.
You're pulling at your heartstrings a little bit there, Basham. At the bot lane, one of the carries of this team has had consistent performances. And in a team that is still battling for playoff position, it's a player like him and Woshi Jianzihao in the mid lane, like we talked about earlier, that need to step up. You need more consistent performances out of the jungler that's been there since the beginning, which is Woshi Feijilu. He needs to not be feast or famine, and if he is going to go that way, he needs to be feasting, not famining.
Oh, yes. And, it's easy to have a feast when there's a party going on. It seems like there's a party going on over at St. John's right now. As you can see, this is a live shot from their viewing party. Over 100 people coming out to support and cheer on their team. You mentioned it's weird to think that 100 people are coming to watch me play League of Legends, but, man, here it is.
Yeah, and it's, super awesome to see the school spirit. Again, the team that just started, had their first season together. Super exciting. Probably maybe a little nerves, but more than likely, you just feel the support of the crowd. Every play, every flash. There's one tournament I played in person, and every time you get to hear the roar of the audience, it is like 3 minutes behind, but the roar of the audience of they're going to make that play, or they're going to hear me. They're going to see me make that play, and we'll hear the crowd. You just feast off that energy. It's like, all right, what's the next play? Let's make sure it happens. Yeah.
They're going up against a tough opponent, obviously in Villanova, who, we want to hype up St. John's as much as we can here, but they are up against an opponent who is currently sitting in second place, looking to try and overtake for first place themselves, who also have a great story and a lot of great personalities in this team to boot.
Yeah, and this isn't just any second-place team in the Big East. These are the returning champions that had the ability to go into the play-ins to the CLL National Championship last year. They return a lot of their players, led by the native 192 in the mid lane, one of the best mid laners in the game, not only for his ability to carry, but also play fearlessly. And even if he falls behind, he has so many good weapons around him. Cryonics and Bielito, we talked about two of the best bot laners earlier with the game that we saw earlier today, but Cryonics and Bielito, fantastic duo, and that's going to be a big task for Basham and his boys to lead through the bot lane.
I'm glad you mentioned Bielito down there in the bottom, because he actually was forced to sub into the mid role last week. And got MVP doing so. 33 KDA, his performance last week, pulling out things like Twisted Fate.
Twisted Fate.
And just fun, weird pocket picks that people didn't know how to deal with. The Destiny was on point. Everything about it was solid. And they ended up walking away with their weekly MVP. I'm assuming he's going to be back down in that support role with the native 192, returning and joining them there. But of course, this wouldn't be a battle of the ages complete if we didn't have, another side of things. It's also cool to note that, of course, while we have a viewing party at St. John's, Villanova's also doing that as well. So that's also pretty cool here. Both teams are showing their support to their respective squads. That's exactly what I love to see.
Yeah, part of the ESL and Big East initiative to have activations on campus and get things going in terms of school spirit, supporting your esports program. And it's the same kind of feeling with St. John's. You have the crowd supporting you when you make a big play. In 3 minutes, you're going to hear everyone cheering and stuff. It's just an experience like no other, and I'm super excited for both these teams to have that today in their matchup.
Yeah, and I think one of the big things here that we have to talk about is the fact that when we came into this season, there was some sort of we didn't have any expectations for St. John's because we hadn't seen them before. We didn't know how this team was going to perform. We got to speak, I believe, to their coach, and I've gotten coach and manager mixed up a couple different times. I believe it's the coach, Lawrence, day one, and hearing about the support that the program was getting and how much how many people were behind them there over at St. John's. But now it's seeing them come all this way here. It all comes down to this. It's so amazing. We're going to get into the draft. We can keep talking about it, but I think it's really cool to see how, a team we had no expectations for suddenly has all this riding on them.
Yeah, all the way at the end as well, and they didn't have the easiest path there. Yes, they're finishing up their season early, so next week, St. John's has a bye. So this is de facto their final set. They need to go 2-0 here against Villanova, but who would have thought that the brand new team coming into the league, trying to slot into that final playoff spot to knock off not only Providence, but also Marquette and get themselves into the conversation, they'd have these stakes here. And great on them. Good for Butler to have their Cinderella story, sneak in on in, not even sneak in, pound down the door. Here's St. John's trying to write their own chapter in that story as well.
I like it. Writing their own chapter here, but this is could be the final pages if they aren't able to take down Villanova. Villanova, again, a powerhouse, only have dropped one game this whole season. Ironically, it was their first game. They're like, well, we goofed a little bit here, team. We gotta maybe turn this around, and they have done every single week since.
Yeah, and it was against Butler, which at the time was like, whoa, this is the team that couldn't punch their way out of a paper bag, and it turns out Butler's actually got a lot more bite rather than bark in this season. I'm on fire, dude.
Yeah,
this is
really
fire
good
right now. Let's take a look at some of these bands. I love the fact that you get rid of Pixel Drum Zach. He got to play like twice all this season, maybe once.
Played 2 games. He played one weekend. He got 2 games.
And that was
it. It was enough.
And so since then, no one wants to deal with the type of engage angles and tankiness that Zach brings and the way that Pixel Drum uses it. That's all already taken off the board. Silas removed. We got to see the power of the Silas earlier today, so just take that off. Just overall strong. Lucian removed from Cryonics. Again, oppressive bot laner. Opposite side, Lissandra, Thresh, and Ezreal removed. So Thresh, known for Belito. So Belito's going to have to play a different champ. He did say that he has a big champ pool. However, it's removed. No one's going to have an opportunity to play it, and we're already into the picks.
So we are actually subbing in 2-Oak here for Belito. So that's probably why there. So looked at this happened right as we were doing our graphics. So that's not actually Belito playing to start this off. This is actually going to be 2-Oak in the support position. So that's probably why.
Sure.
However, I would like to point out Native 192 made some statements about a champion named Yasuo, and we were going to have some let your fingers do the talking kind of thing.
Yeah, the Native 192 is a big talker, but he backs it up most of the time. There is the occasional Yasuo game where he feeds and the rest of his team has to carry him across the finish line, which they've been able to do multiple times. However, I'm interested, Pixel Drum going to the carry jungler. Again, you're banning away his engaged jungler. He carries by his engage and being tanky frontliner. No, this time he's going with the Kha'Zix. It's all on him to get things rolling. He's no longer the facilitator. He's there to feast himself. Opposite side, Urgot and the Evelynn. We haven't seen this from Woshi Feiji Lu for such a long time now. He pulled it out in one game since then. It was a ban by every other team, just like Zach's ban, Pixel Drum's ban, Zach has been. So I like the fact that St. John's gets a comfort pit. You put Thonk on something that is quite powered, still been hit by a couple of nerfs, but Urgot's still highly, highly playable and just annoying nuisance. And then Braum heading on over to Ember Ward. You pick that up and get yourself one of the top tier supports. Not going to be an issue against 2-Woke. 2-Woke plays both Sona and Nami, so she will be able to get her Sona, find those engagements to set up the Yasuo, whether it's Whimsical Melody or the Native 192. Into the banning phase, AD carries starting to go out of the window. Get away those heavy, hard carries. So Caitlyn and Vayne removed. That leaves up an interesting pool left up. Now you're going to the second and possibly third tier AD carries because the Ezreal and Lucian were already removed as well. So Basham has a lot on his shoulders. We talked to him earlier. He's ready for it. And you heard in his voice, you don't have to really dig too deep to hear how much this game and this team is meant to the experience for all of the players of St. John's. He's going to have a big game if they're going to have a chance at more games into the playoffs.
And I love this Riven ban coming out from St. John's as well, because this is starting to deny some of the all-in potential that Villanova has with his composition, able to just dive and delete. That would be the name of the composition if they were able to get that as well.
Yeah, but it leaves something up like Malphite.
That's true.
It was that seemed pretty telegraphed there. I know you want to get rid of a Riven because Whimsical Melody is a talented player and is able to pull out something like Riven, but Malphite is much easier to execute. It's point click, Unstoppable Force pop up
Boom.
Into the Yasuo ult, into Kha'Zix deleting someone, into, like, you can already see how this team composition works, and they still have one more champion to select. St. John's letting the timer go all the way down here because they probably did just get caught with this tough pick. Timer waiting, and it's going to be a Kai'Sa. So Basham going with the late game scaling AD carry. We haven't seen Kai'Sa as much lately since the advent of 9.3 crit AD carries. I've been harping that, Bo, since the beginning of the patch, and now it's Kai'Sa. And then, interestingly enough, we're going to see an Anivia. So we might have to double check here to see if it is Woshi Jianzi Hao in the mid lane, or if it's Left for Egg. Left for Egg, it's in the namesake there, folks. Left for Egg is a Anivia one trick. That got banned away every single time he was playing. So maybe a little bit of gamesmanship here from Villanova saying, hey, give us your best shot, we'll let you take it, and if we beat you there, you're already broken because you got your comfort picks. On the opposite side, they'll lock it up here with a Sivir. So late game Sivir does more damage than the Kai'Sa. So Basham's gonna have to get a good start, roam around, use the first Killer Instinct ultimate to get around and get snowballing so that they cannot let Villanova scale with the Sivir, and then you got to play around the Malphite. There's so much all-in potential here from Villanova's roster.
What I love from this draft as well is the fact that they do have the ability to make plays early. They can go in, they can find these kills, find these picks, but then should it go late, if they're not able to close it out, you do have the late game scaling of that Sivir to carry them on into the late game. I'm wondering where a lot of the initiation is going to come from here on the side from St. John's. I'm a little bit hesitant from that just a touch, especially when you have something like Nibby who's just sit back and play passive, especially in the early mid. They're putting a lot into this late game basket, and Villanova, again, the deletion composition, they're just going to want to go and fight them.
Yeah, and there's no movement abilities here for the side of St. John's. You don't have anything that can dodge out from a Malphite ult, from a Sona flash ult. You don't have anything like that except flash. And there are a lot of things that you need to flash. You need to flash the knockup from Yasuo. You need to flash the knockup from Malphite. You need to flash the Sona ult. There's so many things you have to be aware of if Villanova gets going, and it's just an easier composition to run if you are team fighting. So if you're St. John's, you do want to play around your Kai'Sa. You don't want a 5v5. So it's going to be a lot of these split fights, and it's huge for Woshi Fei Lu at the jungle position on Evelynn to get ganks off. You want a 2v1. You want a 3v2. That's where your initiation comes from. But if Villanova is ever able to set up at a major objective first, it's going to be very difficult for St. John's to find any openings, and they'll probably just have to forfeit the early Drakes, the early Scuttle Crabs, and possibly even Baron. The big power spike, though, for Villanova is at level 6. So St. John's has an opportunity early on to work their way through the lanes and try to win laning phase to get the snowball going.
Well, it's a pretty tall order for them here. We're going to be hopping into the game in just a bit, but still, I have to say, for St. John's to come out and you don't like to put the term eggs, all the eggs in the one basket, but how important is the Kai'Sa going to be in this matchup here? It's that late game scaler. She can become a threat, but early she just doesn't feel as hyper impactful as some of these other ADCs.
I think because you have something like an Evelynn, and you have the stacks, the passive stacks, the caustic skin, where you're able to get your plasma down. If you get all 5 stacks of your plasma down, it does % missing health, AP % missing health. You're going to get multiple ways to get stacks down from your teammates. I think that's a huge opportunity there for the Kai'Sa to do damage early if Evelynn does land a stun. Not only is it a charm that slows the champion and sets up a gank, but it gets even closer to doing that burst amount of damage from the plasma. So there's a little bit of built-in team synergy there, but you're right. It's going to be a difficult early game, and Sivir doesn't have a lot of kill pressure, but she can shove the lane very quickly with Ricochet. So we'll probably see a lot of under turret action early on for the St. John's bot lane, Villanova facilitating, and then it's the jungle game, the cat and mouse. If you're Evelynn, you do not want to see the Kha'Zix there very early on. Possibly in a 2v2, but not until you get items. The built-in damage that a Kha'Zix has early on will be difficult for St. John's to deal with. I really like this draft from Villanova. I think St. John's picked a hard team to execute. It does scale later on with a Kai'Sa at late game, and Anivia scales infinitely. However, it just seems like, can you get to that point?
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm sensing here, too. I also am really favoring the draft of Villanova coming out of this. It seems like they have such a clear win condition going into these fights. They have so many clear paths to initiate, to follow up, and you want to talk about wombo combos. I mean, there's so many ways you're going to be able to start this out. And the fact that they have multiple members of the team who can start a fight, even if, it's not just like, we're relying on one sole person to start this off. You have multiple options here that everybody else can dogpile in, and if they can snowball that, it's going to be very difficult. But I think a lot of that has to be on the back of the native 192. Someone we mentioned before who can be a little bit hit or miss, but when he's hitting, he's doing a lot of work here as well. So it's exciting to see. We have obviously fans at both schools supporting, cheering, rooting for their teams as we get into game number 1 here in just a second. D-Gon, let's get things started.
That's right. St. John's playoff life on the line. Not only they need 1, they need 2 here against one of the top teams, the returning champion from 2018 in Villanova. So the new team to the block, St. John's, the Red Storm from New York, needs to pick up a victory here. It'll start with a early line of scrimmage. St. John's known as a basketball school, so surprising that they set up this football terminology in the river. Make sure no shenanigans coming out from Villanova. No one wants to lose the game off of an early invade.
We've seen some pretty unfortunate Well, dear. We've seen some pretty unfortunate level 1 ganks as well going on through, and people trying to set up sassy wards and getting punished, and vice versa here. So no surprise that teams are going to start this a little bit more conservatively, because nobody wants to go in and immediately feed in front of 100 of your closest friends.
Yeah, that's like
It's less ideal.
yeah, that's not how you want to play in front of an audience.
I can speak from experience, and it's not a whole lot of fun. As we're now looking towards these jungle pathings, we saw some interesting jungle pathings earlier in our match between Butler and DePaul. Do you expect to see anything similar to that, or are we going to mix things up, go back to more standard?
It's very difficult to tell because of Evelynn. Evelynn is such a unique champion in the jungle. She doesn't go invisible until level 6. So, and also this cat and mouse game, this is a very one-sided jungle affair. If you see like a Jarvan and a Xin Zhao or a Sejuani or any of those things, you're tanky enough or you have enough damage to fight around it. In this case, it's a very clear win for a Kha'Zix to find an Evelynn. It's very clear that that is what you want. And you don't want that if you're Evelynn. So how much of the cat and mouse game will they play will be up to just the pathings here. And I think it looks like it'll be a scuttle crab start here for the Kha'Zix on the bottom side of the map, and a full clear for Woshi Feiji Lu. We've seen him do this before, where he leaves a lot of his lanes on an island so that he can get as farmed as he can, hopefully hit level 6, and get going from there. Again, it takes a team effort when you're playing against an invisibility champ like an Evelynn or even a Shaco, just something that's different, something that's awkward to play against. And that unfamiliarity with the matchup can lead to mistakes, and maybe that's what St. John's are hoping for here. Although Woshi Feiji Lu will be caught out at the last second by the ward in the Pixel Brush. Roam from the native 192 to steal the Scuttle Crab away doesn't work out. And so farming as usual, no early shenanigans. We'll probably not see a gank until minute 4, minute 5.
Speaking of the native 192 rotating in here, walk us through kind of what this matchup is going to look like here in the mid, because so, you know, the native 192 is someone who's often touted as being able to talk the talk and oftentimes being able to walk the walk. This is one of those champs that he relies on quite a bit here. Obviously, there's some outplay potential here, but a little bit more aggression coming here from him. Is this more of a skill matchup, or should the native 192 just pretty much be able to walk away with this?
No. I think this is a little harder for the native 192. It is a ranged matchup. Anytime he does step up, there's an opportunity for Frostbite to land, and you're able to get the stun down onto him and dish out a little bit of damage. So that range matchup's tough. He's going to have to work his way in and out like what he's doing now. Whenever he has an opportunity to steal Tempest, you have to see just like that, Woshi Jianzihao has to back up and really be smart about the burst damage that Yasuo brings down. See, that last proc of Steel Tempest, he didn't go in, nothing went down, but now Tuoka in a little bit of trouble.
Tuoka's in a rough spot. Nice shot there from Emberward to help keep the peel going for his team. But
Bash
Tuoka's
him.
in a rough spot. Bash him. One more might get it done. No, the heals there just in time. And now it is the rest of the team of St. John's who's in a bit of a rough spot, trying to do a lot of damage there and receiving a lot of damage in return. Yeah, Tuoka's pushed right on back, but Cryonics is still healthy, alive and well.
Yeah, I don't know about that flash there for Basham. I think he wanted to pick up the kill, but it was very clear that Cryonics had a heal. No reason to flash there. You got the flash from the Sona and the exhaust as well. No need to burn flash there. Now this immobile early game, Kai'Sa doesn't have an escapability.
Well, already a lot of action here on the Rift in our very first game. And if you're liking what you see, be sure to use the hashtag Big East Esports on Twitter. Tweet at us at ESL Collegiate. If you're not doing so already, send us pictures from these viewing parties, guys. We are really excited to see all the fans out there, the crowds at home. So be sure to tweet at us using that. Well, maybe, I don't know if we have the ability to put stuff on stream, but I'd like to try. Do that happen.
I think we can make that happen. You know what? We'll take a photo as well and put that on up during the game. That's how talented we are, and we want to see how talented your viewing parties are.
Yes,
that was okay.
That was pretty meh.
I messed up. I didn't mean to say talented. Sorry.
It's fine.
Sorry, friends over in Philly and Queens.
I have to say, though, I'm pretty impressed at this point St. John's has been able to find these rotations that have not left them at the mercy of the potential early game aggression that Villanova is capable of dishing out here. The Kha'Zix has been kind of looking around, trying to maybe make something happen here or there, but hasn't really found the ability to do so. Very smart positioning from the side of St. John's so far, but against Villanova, the second they decide they want to pull that trigger, we know they have the ability to. Oh, the native 192 forcing out the flash from Woshi Jianzihao. already here, pushing him on back, despite the fact that this should be, the range favorable matchup. Seems like the native 192 is feeling confident in this one.
Yeah, and there's just disrespect there. Good play by the native 192 to consistently be dashing through all these champions throughout, or all the minions throughout the matchup. And it leads to a false sense of security. There were multiple times where he dashes forward, has Steel Tempest ready to go, doesn't use it.
Yeah.
And so this time hits level 6, and Anivia freaks out, realizes, oh no, I'm in the wrong spot, I'm too close forward. I have to preemptively flash. The native 192 says, hey, I'll take your flash and we'll come back and reap the rewards later.
Exactly. And he's setting not only himself up, but also, again, that potential jungle invade. And look at the CS discrepancy right now, 55 to 46 already. We like to talk about the idea of comfort picks here in these matchups. Well, when you put somebody on a champion like Yasuo, a champion who can take games into their own hands, you talk about the idea of the 1v9, and you can get them ahead early like this and find them a couple kills to boot, that's when things can start to snowball out of control already. And once you add something like a Kha'Zix in that mix, look for level 6, look for that evolve, things are going to get scary.
Yeah, and it'll be a little bit difficult now for the side of St. John's. No flash at bot, no flash in mid, while the 80 carry on the bottom side of the map does have flash up for Villanova. Moshi Feijilu needs to find a way in to this next fight. And here it is, maybe on the bottom side of the map. Evelyn looking to go in. Cryonics does have flash, but going the wrong way. First Blood heading on over to Red Storm. The TP gets finished. No canceling TPs anymore. Don't forget, kids. So Whimsical Melody forced to use Unstoppable Force backwards to safety. And this fight might not be over just yet.
Native 192 might want to look to extend it. Let's take a look back at that, though, simultaneously. As we do see just Cryonics feeling a little bit too overconfident there, and perfect timing from the jungle coming in, realizing he's dead to rights. Both TPs are baited out, though, and now it is Whimsical Melody going, there's 4 people here. I think I need to leave.
Yeah, Ember Ward getting a sneaky Winter's Bite down, leading to the concussive blows. Cryonics not able to spell shield it. You can't spell shield the stun portion of concussive blows. You can only spell shield the Winter's Bite. Yeah, that's how it works. So, unfortunately for Cryonics, gets burned down. However, on the rebound, they spent so much time down there, did St. John's. It gives Pixel Drone an opportunity to stay at the Dragon and pick up the first Drake of the game, Air Drake, Cloud Drake, heading over to Villanova.
Yeah, now we're just seeing the thought process of Villanova was there. Hey, we're going to put some early aggression on. We can do that. We have the lane, but we can potentially do this. We want to try and make sure Basham doesn't feel comfortable here. But you mentioned that you want situations where they're 3v2s, or at least 2v2s, if you're Evelyn here, if you're the side of St. John's. That's the kind of matchup you want to have. Well, that was exactly what they were able to get right there. Able to pick up a key kill onto not only, one member of Villanova, but also the carry, the key target there. But still, the native 192 is just keeping up so much pressure here in the mid. Yes, St. John's now has a slight advantage down in this bottom matchup, but it seems like in the mid, they need to look towards shutting the native 192 down as well if they have any hope of getting into this mid game with any sort of lead.
I would say yes, but also at the same time, if you go at him and he's that far ahead, you're just giving him an opportunity to snowball and outplay. It might be one of those things for St. John's. It's like, hey, look,
just leave him alone.
It's the skill to lose gracefully. Lose your lane gracefully. Hey, look, this was a skill matchup. I'm too far behind to try and make a play here, and I don't feel comfortable trying to make that play. I am an Anivia. I can scale as we get later, and right now Pixel Drum has his hand caught in the cookie jar, and he's going to go all in, and Feijilu just gets 1v1. What are you doing?
Oh no, hand in the cookie jar, but maybe like slapping the hand that's coming on in, saying these cookies are mine, is now just Donk, the next one up on the menu here. Tasty treats going over to Villanova right now. That's a couple of quick kills.
Yeah, Feijilu thinking, hey, I got an early kill. I have my ult as well. I'll be able to get himself out, but the burst damage coming out of Kha'Zix just miscalculated by Woshi Feijilu, and easy pickup there for Pixel Drum, and it was so unexpected as well. He was happy to take a Gromp, instead he takes 2 kills.
Yeah, that's exactly it, just walking that right on in, and it's the thought process. You talk about the idea of losing gracefully, identifying when someone is already dead. We saw it earlier in the bottom lane when it was clear that Cryonics was dead to rights. Tuuk just left him. So yeah, it's fine. I totally appreciate that you're gone. I'm going to make sure that I don't also feed right here. An instance there where Thonks wandering, I was like, oh, maybe there's a chance that I can help out right here. Yes, you can help out the pockets of the opposing team by giving them even more gold.
Yeah, the tough part about this is that the kill does go over to the mid lane. Yasuo, the native 192, not only winning in CS right now, but also in gold as well with the kill. And now Jian Zihao getting caught out, forced to flash over the wall, but the burn is going to be enough. Good wall down. Crystallize going to keep him safe. Smart play there after getting caught out. That could have been very, very bad for the hopes of St. John's here if you're finding a loss in the jungle and in the top lane.
Yeah, we're talking milliseconds right there to get that wall down. That was a really heads-up play, realizing that he's gone. He's walking into a bush as Emberwork right now and finds a Kha'Zix for good measure, but 2 members are rotating in right now. Nice ult, though, to take him down. Emberwork identifying that he has the damage, but it's 2 woke on the flank. The native 192 trying to make this work, but it is a 3v2 situation right now. The native 192 might have bit off more than he could chew. Yes, that is 2 kills going over to St. John's.
Yeah, barely alive was Emberwork. Ult coming down. 2 woke gets caught in between. Do I pick up the kill or do I help my carry? And the little bit of hesitation there from the support that hasn't played as many games so far leads to 2 kills heading over to St. John's. That's exactly what they needed if they wanted to stay in this, and it's what they get as we take another look at how that all went down. Pixel Drum finding Emberwork. This looks good.
This looks
good. Super good.
But Glacial Fissure is an ability in this game, as Pixel Drum is about to learn firsthand. Instant deletion. He doesn't have time to hit the ground before his corpse does. And it is 2 wokes maybe trying to help out the native 192, but he's now up a creek without a paddle. And that's 3 members
flash there too. He's trying to flash into the heel of Sona. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough of a barrier to keep him alive. Burns flash for nothing. And we've got ourselves a game here at 12 minutes in.
Yeah, we have ourselves a game pretty much dead even in terms of gold. 3 kills to 2. Neither side having a major advantage here, which I think all in all does actually favor St. John's, because we mentioned that, there's a lot of early aggression at the disposal of Villanova, and the fact that they haven't really been able to snowball much of off it at this point is kind of indicative of the nice conscientious play that St. John's putting together.
Yeah, but again, just look at this awkward recall timer here for St. John's. It gives so much tower damage and tower pressure onto the native 192. Even after he dies, these are awkward recall timers from teams that really want to win, but you got to understand, like, hey, look, getting items is great, but yeah, getting a couple of extra CS is great as well. You're just hurting yourself in the long run. You're giving over turret chip damage, now control of the Dragon Pit, for not exactly sure what. So St. John's losing the tempo here. Villanova has it and heading over to the bottom side of the map. We're going to have ourselves an explosive fight. TPs will be up in a second as well, but 2 woke now getting caught out.
2 woke getting caught is likely to be the first pick up here. Not quite yet getting into the bush. Yes, she is, and now Basham is the next target up on the menu as Villanova is looking to turn this around. Over Wushy Fishy Lou is going into the flash down to the backside. The Elise is going to be the target here, trying to take it down is the Malphite. Yes, nicely done. Going back underneath the turret. Emberwork is going to be the next one up here as Pixel Drum is trying to make it happen. Diving under the turret is the native 192. Emberwork in a bit of a rough spot, but the turret doing a lot of damage, finding a kill of its own. So trading out 1 for 1 underneath the turret. 5 kills to 5.
Yeah, no TP from Thonk for whatever reason, saying, hey, this is scuffed. We're not going to go in, so just keep your TP. We'll make a play later. It was a solid job here by 2 woke. Watch this. 2 woke stays alive for the longest time, and your Q on Kai'Sa does not go off if you lose vision of the opponent. So he goes in, presses Q right there, doesn't get the kill, so Emberwork has to commit for the kill, not to keep his AD carry alive. It takes too long for the rest of the team to survive. So 2 woke with a very small microplay, just that little extra instant gives enough time here, and then a botched bot lane dive. You have 3 members here, and Pixel Drum griefs for it, too heavy. He goes down, and it turns into a 3 for 2 with that loss of your jungler. The Drake is still up, and now you have TP advantage on the side of St. John's if they decide to go for it.
I'm not a huge fan of that play there at the end from Pixel Drum. Like, you're the jungler, that's a support. At some point, it's like, yeah, play this out a little bit longer here. He wasn't going anywhere. You still have him pinned underneath the turret. I think there were better, smarter ways to go about that. Still a solid fight, as you mentioned. 2 woke with a really good heads-up play there. Keep creating just enough space, forcing that misposition from St. John's. But now we do see the Anivia getting caught out here in the mid once more. It is Pixel Drum looking to try and get it done. The wall is there. Ooh, forcing at the egg.
Yeah, the egg barely coming back in time, but here's Emberwork. So Portal Combat, the stun goes down. Here comes the Anivia. Who got who? Wilshi Janzi Lu catching him down, and now the native 192 able to catch out Basham, but he dashes his way into death, and the late scaling Anivia picks up 2 kills. The bot lane turret goes down in that whole rotation. What a fight across the map.
What a bloodbath here. Both teams looking to try and make plays, moves and counter moves, finding these moments where, yeah, look, I've got myself a great position. We're going to see it right here. Pixel Drum starts off really well. He's going to try and get this done, but he needs to have the follow-up here. He needs to be able to continue to convert off of this, but now he's put himself in such a rough position, taking these turret shots that Emberworks open up.
Yeah, I love the wall yet again from Woshi Jianzi Hao, doing a great job making sure he doesn't go down by himself, but then you cannot get soloed out like that if you're Basham. You have 3 of your teammates there. I know you want the kill. I know you want to scale up and get to that late game point, but overall a 2-for-1 on the bottom side of the map. Solid trade there by Villanova. And because they spend so many resources on the bottom turret, the rest of St. John's that cleaned up the mid lane head to the Dragon and pick up the Mountain Drake to help with the late game scaling of turret damage. So just trades back and forth happening very quickly. And now, Caster Curse?
Yeah,
no,
Caster Curse. Caster Curse.
It's going to be a little bit slower. Major objectives down. Bot lane turret has been broken. We should assume inverted lanes now. AD carry should head to the top side of the map, as the mid lanes will continue to just farm up and soak up pressure.
Yeah, and it's looking like exactly what we're going to see here. As you see the first turret starting to fall, I'm going to look to Sarah. Obviously, we're not going to be able to get this turret plating continuing it, so that's not going to be too much of a factor when it comes to the gold. However, I am going to start to expect a little bit more focus on the overall macro play, as we are going to start to see more of these major map objectives becoming a factor, whether it be that Rift Herald or Baron itself. Going into it now, we are seeing a little bit of rotation going in from Emberward. He is going to miss the Glacial Fissure. 2 Woke, enemy to land a return ult, finding the stun back onto Basham. However, they're going to try and continue to chase this down. Wuxi Fei Lu is going in there, finds 2 Woke with the reinitiation from Pixel Drum, is able to pick it up, and now it is Emberward next up on the mini, but Thonk is a nice big tanky front line here as Cryonis is trying to chip on through it. Trading kills 1-for-1 so far. Looks like that's going to be it.
Yeah, very interesting interaction there by Wuxi Fei Lu, using the Evelynn ult to actually get closer to the battle, land the charm, which I thought was solid. Uh-oh, Cryonics getting caught out, tossed out, and you're going into the meat grinder, son. In just a second.
There it is. Fear Beyond Death.
And a big 500 gold bounty heading over to Thonk. This has been a bloodbath back and forth. Wuxi Fei Lu now has Pixel Drum on the wrong side of the map, and Urgot and the rest of the team might be coming to catch him out. The slow does land.
Hello!
Pixel Drum might be able to pick up a kill on Emberward. Emberward might be fighting off more than Gachu. He stays alive! The rest of the team rotates just in time, but here comes the native 192. He wants to get over the wall. Whimsical Melody catching out the Evelynn. And it's just an exciting 1-for-1, but the native 192 walking forward and wanting more, sitting on top of the ulti. Glacial Storm. Knockup will slow it down. The native 192 will walk himself out of this one. We cannot get 1 kill without another response here.
Yeah, both of these teams, they're just reading this right now. Every single time one person steps a little bit too far, they are not afraid to commit resources. They're not afraid to scrap, to brawl, to go all in, to take these fights. Give us a lot of action to talk about, so I can't say I'm complaining, as now it's 10 kills to 8, but still pretty much dead even in terms of gold. A little bit of CS favoring over on the side of Villanova right here, as Wuxi Fei Zhang Jihao might be in a little bit of trouble. Native 192 not able to find. There he goes, is able to get it done, and the turret as well is going to drop.
Yeah, just a little bit disrespect. I think he lost track of who he was playing, how far up he was. Blows his flash on that one as well. And it's going to be multiple turrets going down, not only to kill in the mid lane, but the mid and top turrets fall as well. Awkward recall timing for St. John's. That's what you get from the native 192 going aggressive and picking up that kill after his jungler dies on the enemy lines. It forces these weird back timings, and no one's there to defend the turret. And Villanova now taking all of the outer turrets of St. John's, and St. John's starting to lose control of their own jungle. They need to make sure that no wards are behind them so they can't get flanked by Whimsical Melody. I thought that was a huge ult from him to set up that whole sequence of events for the native 192 earlier.
For sure, yeah. Playing off the back of that ult was massive. I feel like the more that this game devolves into chaos, the better off it is for Villanova, as we're seeing another fight breaking out here. Pixel Drum in a 1v2 situation, but Granish is trying to make it a 2v2. So Wuxi Fei Lu is going to look to go in. The Sona is there to try and support the team as best as possible. The native 192 in the rough spot. There's the ult going in once more from the Braum as Whimsical Melody's going to try and reinitiate. Basham is going to be the target. One more auto, maybe get it done, but Granish is too far back as Basham is still surviving through this. There's the wall, but here we go. Thonk and crew are maybe going to look to try and follow back up on this. Sona is going to be the target. The Braum is doing a good job up front for the Unbreakable Shield. However, the damage still being put on through. Nicely done. The Anivia is going to continue to rain in the damage. Thonk is there as well. Whimsical Melody is running away. They're going to continue to try and get it. Not able to find that kill.
And that's a 4-for-1. You could see how both teams were positioning back and forth. Fantastic job by Emberward getting up his Unbreakable Shield multiple times, then landing the Glacial Fissure this is just an insane amount of time Thonk is able to buy for his team. Pixeljon picking a bad fight against the tankiest member of the team, and then the native 192, that's a lot of your damage. You go right into the front, into the face of a concussive blow, getting punched in the face, and then right here, Whimsical Melody has an opportunity to solo out Basham, uses the ult backwards and buys some time. Unfortunately, the auto attack still goes off. Woshi Feiji Lu goes down, but then Tuwoke gets caught out, and now both teams are like, shoot, I've got to stay for my teammate.
Look at that
Big
Anivia
two-man
damage.
stun by the Anivia, closes things out, and St. John's take this back as they have over and over again through team fighting. But then Villanova, because of the time spent on the map that St. John's did, gets the Drake.
Like I said, the point I was trying to make before we broke into that fight was it seems like the more chaotic this game gets, the better off it actually ends up being for the side of Villanova. St. John's did actually end up taking the mid turret throughout that, so they are getting back some pressure on the map.
Two mid turrets.
Two mid turrets, yes.
Two mid turrets.
Two mid turrets in that. So maybe my statement is not quite as strong as it used to be, as we are seeing another fight breaking out here in the jungle. Thonk is going to be walking in with so much HP on the side of St. John's as Cryonix is now here in the flank. This is the key damage they're going to need. Thonk to be a really rough spot. Force go to the wall. Oh no, they're going right on through. Trying to survive through. The Anivia is going to be going into egg form. Tuwoke in the flank going up against Feiji Lu, and now she's going to also try and escape. So we actually seeing every member of Villanova still alive and 4 dead on the side of St. John's.
Yeah, again, your jungle is not your jungle.
Wait.
Great that you took 2 turrets, but Villanova's had 2 turrets down, or 3 turrets down the whole game. And so your jungle is littered with wards, and you walk face first into multiple members, and I think it was just a mistake by the 2 carries, Woshi, John Zihao, and Basham standing together. Whimsical Melody gets a huge ultimate off, and it gets picked up by the native 192. The steal attempt not going to be enough, and I think that's the right play by Evelyn, has to go for it, but just watch this again. You've got 2 tanky members that do no damage against the wombo combo of a team. Look at this, they're standing right on top of each other. I want to hit things, bam, you're knocked out, you're dead. What a waste of your skill set, all the gold you have, and it's just too easy for Villanova there. This is what I was talking about during the draft. This is an easy composition to run, and even that right there, you just need 2 champions to do it.
Yeah.
You had the 2 damage champions against a setup champ and a damage champ for Villanova, and St. John's gets to lead it.
And again, I think it comes down to the fact that Villanova has a little bit more experience in this position. St. John's, you know, they're able to win some of these scrappy fights, but you know, every single time you mention, they're having these awkward backs. The timing, the tempo of this, they're just not being able to quite convert what little advantage they are, or what advantages they are getting into meaningful impact on the map. Yes, we did see those 2 mid turrets taken down. That was exactly the kind of thing they needed to do, but they needed to start to do that earlier. It seemed like every single time they want to fight, it was Villanova who came ahead in some sort of other map objective, and it's starting to pay dividends for them now as we head into the mid-late game. However, Pixeldrum is walking into the wrong side of town. He's going to go try and go back in. There's the reinitiation of the back of Malphite. Instant kill there. Amber Warg is going to be the next up on the menu, but nice help before he does go down. No, he survives actually through the back of it, ending up to trade up beautifully. Now is the Malphite in a terrible position, and that is the shutdown going through onto the native 192 as well.
Warg.
Beautifully done, as both teams are able to escape weird situations, but members still do fall.
Yeah, Amber Warg survived for such a long time, but it's the final ricochet from the Sivir that bounces off his 2 teammates onto him, and he falls. Villanova pushing the tempo. We lauded St. John's for the roster that they had. They're highly rated, a lot of diamond players on this team, a couple of master players, but you can see they're great at team fights and they're great at fighting, but all their leads and their ways to get back at this game have been through fighting. And Villanova is playing around the map, understanding the recall timers, understanding that St. John's is overstaying to get objectives after they win these fights, and Villanova has punished them at every corner. It's been a turret here, a dragon here, this time a Baron, this time Vision, so that they could set up that whole sequence of events that led to the Baron. St. John's has to get on the same page. I believe Villanova is firmly in the driver's seat, and it's their game to lose from here on out.
Especially now that they've been able to take down that bottom inhibitor as well. That is constant pressure that St. John's is going to have to deal with throughout the course of the match here. So that does respawn, of course. So now, the onus is on St. Now the question is, so my initial reaction would be the onus is on St. John's to try and make a play here or make something happen. They need to take things back into their own control. But is that really the case? Or is it just them looking more to turtle, put the eggs in the Basham basket, sit back and let Kai'Sa farm, try and find a fight another day, sit back, turtle? What do you think is the right call here for St. John's?
Yeah, you've got to give up a couple of these objectives, especially these inner turrets, the second-tier turrets, are so tricky to defend. It's a trap, especially when you have Whimsical Melody, you have 2Woke, and you have the native 192 on the champions that they have, where you can kind of engage from multiple different angles. It's funny because we're used to seeing Pixel Drum on the Zac engage from weird angles. This time it's Whimsical Melody on a champion very similar to the Zac. The Malphite can engage from over the wall, from longer distances, makes it very difficult to play against. And you can see, I think this is the right call here. If you are St. John's, you got a turtle, you have the Anivia, let her continue to scale up, but you're running out of opportunities to do that. You have to hold here. Don't let them take this turret. One inhib down is already bad enough. You do have some reprieve in the mid lane because your inner turret is up, but it doesn't look like Villanova's going to wait any longer.
They're going in right now, trying to take down this turret. Nobody's falling on the side of St. John. The turret is getting low, but here we go. They're trying to fight through this a little bit longer.
Good
ult. Is going in. Nice out there as well.
Woshi Feiji Lu ults out, does not get stunned up by the Crescendo, and 2Woke not able to pick up to set up her team. But the siege continues here. Oh!
Yeah, the sheer amount of healing that the Sona is able to just put out, it just keeps them so topped up and sustained through this. This is normally where a team, you continue to do the damage, you take them down, you butter it up, you poke them out, and eventually they've got it back, they've got to retreat. Normally, St. John's, the defender, would have the advantage. They can go back to the fountain, they can freshen up, but that's not the case here when you have 2Woke just constantly keeping everybody topped up.
And this is what I talked about earlier. It's 2Woke, but also just the team composition of Villanova. You are not a 5v5 team if you're St. John's. You cannot 5v5 because of the power of the native 192, Whimsical Melody, and 2Woke. That is just such a hard engage, secure engage, that as soon as you step up, who's going to step up? Thonk is the only one that might be able to step up, but I believe he gets burned. He gets burned immediately if he goes in first. So you can see the setup right now by St. John's. Thonk is up front, Ember Warg is up front, but he almost got wore down during that last siege, and it didn't take very long. So there's not a lot of answers here for Woshi, Jian Zihao, and the rest of St. John's, and they might be saying goodbye to their playoff hopes and implications. They got to find a way to punish the mistakes of Villanova here, or make them make a mistake so that they can punish.
Yeah, they need to win both of these games if they have hope, if want to maintain these hopes for playoffs. As you said, this is so important right now. They've lost multiple inhibs, and they're looking in a bit of a rough spot as Ember Warg is going to be the target right now of all of this initial damage. He's getting knocked up, but Thonk is there, going to try and go in, be that tanky front line the team needs, but they're under pressure from all three lanes simultaneously. Kai'Sa has to go back and try to clean this up. Anivia's got to do the same, which means his last turret is very much exposed right now. Anivia is okay, but Kai'Sa not the best at wave clears. His turret is going to be the target, trying to wear it down, and they are able to do so. This last inhib is exposed. Pixel Drum is trying to go in, forcing back the Evelynn, and in the midst of it, though, a beautiful ult from 2Woke is finding Thonk. Nicely done. They're continuing to chase it down. The native 192 taking down Bash, and the rest of the crew is going on in as well. And this looks like it's going to be it, Degon. This looks like it might be all she wrote in game number 1. The Nexus turrets are still standing, and the second the minions arrive, that will likely be it. It will need to be the save of the century right now, but I think that's pretty much it for St. John's.
Yeah, Woshi Feiji Lu, the only one left alive, and it was inevitable. Once Villanova got St. John's stuck under the turret into a siege turtle, St. John's just isn't equipped for that with this team composition. They don't have a hard engage that leads with CC. They have a tank in the front line, and that's the key to victory here in game 1 for Villanova.
Villanova takes game number 1 with a strong composition out of the gate. You can see it there, looking relieved, feeling happy. All smiles over there on the side of Villanova, and for good reason, because they are maintaining the pace.
That's right. It just at 8-1, one game away from that first place matchup next week against DePaul. They could be finding themselves as the top seed and with an easier opponent going into the playoffs.
I mean, that's kind of what they said before. They're like, hey, DePaul's not a big deal. We can take them down. Their words, not mine. But I guess they at some point got to put the money where the mouth is. But they still have another game here. There's still a chance for St. John's, you know, to put on a show in front of the crowd, to put it on and say, hey, you know, we're still a team who, you know, we deserve our spot here. All the work we put in this season wasn't for anything, or wasn't for nothing. So I still think they have a chance in game number 2 to at least tie up this series.
That's right. They do have one more opportunity to tie up the series. We'll be right back with the short break. But when we come back, we'll have game 2 of St. John's against Villanova. Don't go anywhere. You're watching the Big East.
voice, one heart, one beat. As we say, we are one. You ready? Let's go.
This is who we are.
We are the hardest working group of people I've ever met in my entire life.
This is bigger than just the game.
You made the jersey better than when you found it. That means you left your mark.
That's the Big East way.
1, 2, 3.
Together!
The 2019 Big East Women's Basketball Tournament at Wintrust Arena. Meet Fliz 1. It's tiny and complex, and to our research team at Villanova University, this protein may hold the key to new tests for breast cancer. I started this work my second year at Villanova with a world-class researcher who is now my mentor and colleague. I stepped on campus an aspiring oncologist. Now, I'll start med school with a real understanding of the science behind the practice of medicine and Villanova's Augustinian values to guide me. Ignite change, go Nova.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to more amazing Big East Collegiate League of Legends action, where we just saw Villanova take down St. John's in game number 1 of our set. I'm Inverum, that's Degon, and with that, St. John's is now mathematically eliminated from playoff contention.
Yeah, heartbreaking for the St. John's fans. Still have the opportunity to play spoiler against Villanova. Villanova still vying for that #1 spot. So our top 4 teams are currently locked in. It will be DePaul, Villanova, Butler, and Seton Hall heading to the playoffs. However, positioning still up for grabs for all 4 teams. Villanova has an opportunity to slide into that #1 seed. Butler and Seton Hall also have more matches next week to figure out their placement as a 3rd or 4th seed. It's basically a jumble right now for all of those teams.
Yeah, let's take a look at the highlights from that last game because there were so many great moments there. We talked about the team fighting from both squads, and there were certainly a lot of team fights to be had in this last game.
Yeah, right here, Wuxi Jianzihao turning around a dive under turret, able to pick up a kill, but then Basham just getting caught out, and the native 192 wasn't the cleanest Yasuo game, but you don't need to worry about your deaths when you're a Yasuo. If you get items, you're able to pop off, and the combo was so dirty. You're talking about the OG Wombo combo. This is the new wave right here, Yasuo and Malphite making it happen, and a couple of good fights to keep it going for quite some time, but just wasn't quite enough. You can see this one extended out for a long time. Emberwork looking like he's safe, and then, oh no, here comes the Sivir boomerang. Boop, boop.
Stay away from me!
There it is, down he goes. And from there, this is just not how your team composition plays from St. John's. When you're behind, it's very difficult to stay at a siege, or in a siege. They wanted picks, they needed picks. Unfortunately, they went for comfort picks, and those were the only types of picks that they found.
Yeah, every single time Unstoppable Force was used in these fights too, the capitalization was instant and finite. Those resulted in kills almost every single time. You talked about the Wombo combo. We definitely saw it there. And something, again, we predicted. The amount of initiation tools that Villanova gave themselves in that last game really set them apart. And that seems to be really consistent in collegiate play. The team that gives themselves more options to take fights tend to be the ones that win.
Yeah, you want to, in this current meta, to be the one that is engaging. You want to bring the fight to others because there's so much burst damage in the game right now. I think I've said it for, I don't know, 2
week
3
are we
weeks. And here we are.
Yeah.
Look at the team that has the burst damage. CC built in as well with a Malphite. Not very useful otherwise, but bam, there's the Unstoppable Force. And it leads to just massive amount of damage up front. This Yasuo that had fallen a little bit behind in terms of deaths, all of a sudden came alive. And it's just an easy team composition to run. So props to Villanova, and here's an opportunity for them to go in 9-1 up against DePaul. A rematch of the finals, possibly a rematch of this year's finals. We don't know quite yet. But there's one more match they've got to take care of business here against St. John's.
Yeah, because as you said, St. John's not in playoff contention, but they still have the ability to play gatekeeper up against Villanova here, putting them in a position where they're not going to be tied with DePaul going into this final match. So there's a lot here for them. And again, there's nothing more dangerous than a team with nothing to lose. And up there on stage in front of their friends like, yo, we're just going to want to poke the eye of Villanova going into this. And they're like, hey, don't do that.
Yeah, and Villanova also having their own viewing party as well. You get to see them on your screen a couple times. But yeah, let's take a second to talk about St. John's and their season so far and what they were able to accomplish. They came out of the gates with a couple of fantastic wins, highly explosive players, and they're a team that's just a couple steps away. You could see their talent as a roster, but it's just a little too raw right now. It's a little too much, hey, let's find the next fight, not what do we get out of this fight, and then if we overstay. There was just so much overstaying in that last game. They were doing a great job finding pockets and engages with not a lot of engage tools. However, they would try to get turret after turret and then get caught out, and it would just lead to bad recall timers. Usually when you're recalling, you want to recall when there's 8 seconds left on the enemy's death timer, because your recall takes 8 seconds, then you're both back on the map at the same time. You don't lose tempo on the map. So you kind of have that in your head. Sometimes you agree for an extra couple CS or a turret or something like that. So you want to make sure that you keep an eye on the death timers when you're recalling and you don't take too much.
Lessons being learned here for those of you at home who are just learning more about League of Legends. I mean, all of us learning more about League of Legends here as we get into the draft. And I love, we talked about tempo on the map, and that was something that really felt like it had a major impact in that last game because despite the fact that Villanova was coming up behind in a lot of these fights, their macro play was simply superior almost all the time. They were able to take an objective, able to take a turret, take multiple turrets simultaneously off the back of these scrappy fights. So in the end, it worked out obviously really well for Villanova there as they're able to take the win. And I think the way they were able to utilize that siege-style composition there at the end with Asona just put them in such a good spot. As we're looking towards game number 2 here now, Villanova looking to tie up that first place spot with a win right here.
Yeah, and St. John's trying to close out their season with the win. They ran into a couple of those mid-tier teams in the, I guess those final playoff teams in the middle of the season, and they weren't able to quite get over the hump. I think a good way to do that is get yourself a good draft, get yourself a team composition that's easy to play, just very straightforward. Once you hit level 6, are champions. Get yourself a Syndra, maybe something like a Varus, something to just delete people, and it's very clear how you're going to play. Is it counterable? Sure, but it's easy to execute, and you saw what that did for Villanova in that last team composition. So Lysandra, Evelyn, and Anivia taken away, so no going back for that for the Woshis. On the opposite side, Zach and Lucian. Final ban coming out for St. John's before we get into the first power pick of Villanova. St. John's going to take their time there. I like the fact that Pixodrum still, no Zach. Hey, look, I know that you guys won or whatever. No Zach for you. Silas is going to get removed. Yeah. So the native 192 will not be able to have that in his pocket.
I also want to make a note here real quick that it's not actually 2 woke. It is Billy Toe back in on the side of Villanova. They had a last-second roster swap there as Billy Toe will be rejoining down here. And no Thresh ban, which means a Thresh pick first pick.
Yeah, best Thresh
no surprise
in
there.
The league will be able to get that Thresh. And I expect to see death sentences. I'm expecting to no longer see death sentences. I want to see death novels. Yeah. You know, death thesauruses. What's death encyclopedias?
Yes. I mean, I would have started smaller. I would have given myself paragraph and page and
no, let's go big. Let's just go big right away.
And
come on, Villanova.
Like, okay.
We've been stacking them up for weeks now. So Billy Toe should have more than just a paragraph.
Last week's MVP right there, 33 KDA last week, and he played mid.
On the opposite side, it will be St. John's picking the Morgana yet again. Or just a normal matchup that you're so used to seeing.
Yep.
The Black Shield prevents too much CC going down. Also, the Flay gets countered out. Pixodrum going back to the carry jungler, though. Kha'Zix and Yasuo locked back in. So the native 192 saying, hey, look, I wasn't kidding. Yasuo, leave it up. I'll pick it. Opposite side, Sivir locked in. A little bit later game composition here for Basham. And that's relatively easy. You don't have to worry too much about landing your skills. Throw out a Ricochet and just auto attack and spacing here for Basham. Woshi, Feiji Liu at the jungle position will be locking in the Sejuani, and we've seen Sejuani fall off a little bit in the last couple of weeks. Patch changes putting up other champions at priority, and I think we want to see more burst damage up front, so therefore we have seen that come from the jungle position. Sejuani, that is a relatively easy champion if you're able to land your Glacial Prison. If you miss, again, it's a big miss, and one of the main reasons why you pick a champion like Sejuani, if it does work out, it creates that big circle of frost, slowing people, dishing out damage, and holds that one person in place. Just pick someone, blow them up. There is a little bit of counterplay with the Yasuo to get that removed, so I like also the adjustment here that St. John's has made with their bans Vayne and Malphite removed.
Yes, Sejuani is one of those characters where it's like it's a big yes or a big yikes. So basically it's a 50, well, it's not a 50-50. But in that situation, you know, there obviously could be some counterplays you mentioned coming in with the Yasuo. We'll keep an eye on that, but denying the Malphite there as well. If it just beat you with it, probably want to try and deny that as best as possible, but this is a Villanova tried and true. This is a staple, a standard. I need to see how the response comes through from St. John's.
This would be interesting.
This would.
Oh, there we go. That makes a little bit more sense to me if they go with the Echo. Yeah, so Woshi, Janzi, Hao will be pulling out the Echo, and we'll get a look to see how this matchup works out as well. Echo able to just kind of dash on through. It doesn't really matter if Yasuo is dashing away, flashing away. You're able to zap right onto him and get your auto attacks off. Try to get your passive 3-hit Z drive convergence, I believe. You can look that one up for me.
I can, yeah.
To deal extra magic damage when you land your Time Winder and a couple of auto attacks. Opposite side, Villanova going to go also with the scaling game. Tristan able to make plays, and Whimsical Melody didn't have the opportunity to play the Riven last time. Will lock it in. Another champion with a knockup.
Oh, yeah.
Highly mechanical, and St. John's will have their handful with that unless they pick a Poppy.
Fun fact, that was the champ that they actually banned instead of the Malphite in the last game. So They're just like, well, we'll just take this instead. It's Z-Drive Resonance. You were so close.
I was so close.
You were.
So with that, the Poppy will prevent a lot of the dashes that Riven picks up. So the Q and the W will not be as utilized, but you can still flash in and stun people. It'll be very difficult for St. John's to work around that. The native 192 does not have as many tools to set up his ults. From that last game, most of them, if not all of them, were set up from Malphite, except the one in the mid lane where he's able to pick that one up on a Basham. However, the impactful ones were set up from the Malphite. Those sieges, you could ask and look at it and say, why isn't St. John's trying to find a fight? Why is St. John's just letting their turret fall? They didn't have an answer. If they do step up, the Malphite sets up the Yasuo so beautifully, and then if they try to step up after that, then comes the Sona. With this type of team composition, it's a little bit harder to set up the native 192, so St. John's adjusting the draft well and has to pick their poison between the Riven, because it's another pop-up champion, or the Malphite that they just got punished with. Decent adjustment. We'll see how it works out.
Yeah, we'll see how it works out here in this next game. I like seeing these teams make these adaptations. And I also like seeing teams with having players that, you know, touch our heartstrings a little bit here. I want to
What
go
is
to
this smile? Do you see this smile?
Oh,
I don't know where we're going yet.
He has no idea what's going on. Emberwarg wanted us to let everybody know that he loves his girlfriend, and she's proof, living proof that angels exist. So there you go, Emberwarg. We're going to give that shout out to you right at the end here in front of the crowd. Have fun with that. You're welcome.
Brought to you by Paul and Vernum Togkill. That's the biggest assist of your life, my dude.
You're so
welcome. And I know you're so used to getting assists. Well, here's a guy assisting you as well. Yeah, who's melting? Do we know who it is?
I don't know who it is. I don't know
who it is.
That's fine.
Everyone's looking around.
She's
over there.
Someone
over there.
All right, giving him a hard time. Okay.
Shout out to him.
Let us have some fun with that one, guys. Thank you so much. As we get into this game number 2 now. Look, we have some great producers here who make some amazing segments. You want to give a shout out to our production team as well here, helping to put on an amazing show and allowing us to do fun things like that. As it's been an amazing season so far here in the Big East. It's been such a pleasure for myself and Merriman Degon, having a good time as we are already seeing some saucy action coming here in the jungle, and Woshi Zhanzihao is like, hey, this could be bad.
Yeah,
but it's not.
It's not.
So now it's time to ward.
Yeah.
Now it's time to ward.
Twitch chat, you guys are hilarious. The humble brag about a girlfriend. Come on, guys. It's the truth. Don't be jealous, Twitch chat.
Seriously. You're so much better than this. I believe in you, Twitch chat. You can be great. And right now, again, St. John's. What? What?
What's happening?
I don't know. On the last game of the day. It's been an adventure here as we are seeing St. John's in the attempt to deny Villanova that 9-1 record. That's definitely correct. That was said as a question, but that's certainly correct.
So right now, decent wardage here by St. John's. It'll cover the bottom side of the map, and they'll have knowledge of where the opposing team will be starting. Basham and Emberwarg can try to do the quick push on the bottom side with the Morgana and the Sivir Ricochet to make the bot lane duo of Cryonics and Bilito possibly miss a couple of CS. So it'll be an aggressive start there.
Yeah.
Sejuani going to take red, then head on up to Krugs. Probably a full clear, if not a level 2 gank to Whimsical Melody. So we'll keep an eye on the junglers.
Yeah, keep an eye on that for sure, and keep an eye on Whimsical Melody here. We all know what happens to a Riven when she's left on her own, and left uncontested to CS and then kill people in lane. It's scary. Let's put it that way. It gets really, really scary. So we'll keep an eye on that. I'm going to need to see Wuxi Feijilu just pay some attention up there. If not, commit all in. Just make sure that there is being some attention paid. So you see the first dead sentence of the game go in. Basham is going to be the target. Bilito walking right on this.
Perfect.
Oh, that is absolutely perfect. So much damage done to start this off. This is a great position for Cryonics to be in.
They calculated exactly how many minions they needed to hit level 2. Basham and Emberwarg were not able to keep up the shove. And because of that, Bilito takes the death sentence that he lands and then hits level 2, gets the play backwards. Basham able to walk himself out of it, but chunked early on by this bot lane duo of Villanova.
Yeah, Cryonics on the Tristan, just so annoying to deal with. Perfect flexibility of range and damage there, and of course the splash can't be undervalued going in for that CS. Up in the top lane though, walk us through a little bit more, because we've seen some interesting Poppy matchups in the last few weeks, and how that interaction works with a lot of these highly mobile champs.
Yeah, no champion with a movement speed dash is able to move when Poppy uses Steadfast Presence. Riven's Broken Wings, every Q is indeed just that. So you just can't really move in the middle of a Poppy. This should be a relatively hard counter. So the play here is waiting to see when Thonk uses Steadfast Presence. Once he uses it, then you can go in on him and get your trade out. Nice jungle pathing here by Woshi Feiji Lu, able to take the top side. Gromp and put behind this Kha'Zix. He'll take the long way around. No, he'll just back up here, and then he'll have his Raptors to start up afterwards, saving that high-quality camp there. Uh-oh, see, and there it is.
There it is.
Presence stops the gank. Hammer going down, and
wow,
just a little bit of a trade there. And you see how much it deters any sort of all-in on a Poppy. Very difficult to tower dive, very difficult to play through. So for Whimsical Melody, this is mostly just a farming exercise, but here we go.
There's the Black Shield going on in, trying to get a lot of the additional damage. The heals being popped as well, trying to get him out of there. A lot of resources coming to keep Basham alive. The flash is there. And oh my, Cryonix and Billy Tail already putting on a clinic in this bot lane. This is the tried and true. Don't give this man Thresh!
Yeah, but that should not happen if you're St. John's. Basham needs to be playing better. You have the spell shield in case the hook lands, as well as Emberwarg has Black Shield, which has a spell shield built in it. There's no reason for that to land. You've got to be pushing yourself to be better if you're the bot lane of St. John's.
Yeah, I mean, the Sejuani is going to look to try and come down here in a bit to try and assert some further pressure, because they need to win somewhere here. They need to find an advantage on the map right now. And starting to slow down the scaling of Cryonix and Billy Doe is definitely going to be part of that. But no gank attempt coming in, at least quite yet. Because the Kha'Zix here, we've seen the Kha'Zix is going to look to try and make some plays. What? Thonk! Whimsical Melody, what are you doing? There's the Broken Wings going in, getting the knock up there, getting the additional poke. And finally, we are seeing the rotation down. However, not to much effect.
No, Woshi Feiji Lu trying to help out his bot lane. It's just like, hey, I'm here. Please don't engage on my bot lane, please. Nothing
please.
To get out of that. Oh. Thonk missing a lot of CS there. There you go.
Yeah, there he goes. He's fine. One more.
All right, all right. Missed a couple, but even with no kills to their name, it is a 600, 700 gold lead right now for Villanova, just based off of CS alone and jungle pathing. See Woshi Feiji Lu able to dash himself, Arctic Assault himself to safety. Nowhere, no minions to farm immediately, but might stop the back. Yeah, stops the back of Kha'Zix, so Kha'Zix's tempo slowed down just a bit. You see that right there. Have an eye on Pixel Drum. He'll just clear out the ward. But it slows his tempo down, and it gives Woshi Feiji Lu an opportunity to continue farming up, get XP, clear out his wolves. And this whole idea of tempo right now has been very important in these types of games. You have pressure, you have tempo. Right now, pressure is what's happening on the bottom side of the map. Tempo is, oh, Bilito missing some tempo, forced to flash away because his movement speed got taken away.
Oh no, but they still find the first blood. Yeah, the Ignite is going to be able to secure that there, taking a couple of turret shots, but finding first blood. Now up almost 1K gold. Cryonix and Billy Doe are going to continue to shove out this lane before backing up, reset, and getting some items in the pocket. Let's take another look at that kill again.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't see the bomb on top of the Morgana. Thought he got away cleanly. That last auto attack was all she wrote, and then boom, plus the Ignite.
Yep.
The last tick of Ignite. Billy Doe, so calculated on that Thresh.
I mean, this guy is an absolute fiend we have discovered here. Don't also forget, this guy's the sub, but every single time he comes in, he steps up in a big way. He's been definitely a part of Villanova's success here in these last few weeks of play. But now we're starting to see things slow down just a touch here, feeling a little bit more calculated as players are going to back up, reset, get the first items before they look to turn onto these next objectives as they are going to look to spawn. But, man, we haven't talked about the native 192 yet a whole lot in this matchup. But fun fact, another champion that he likes to play a lot is, of course, this Echo. And he should know how this matchup plays then, and you play both sides of the equation.
Yeah, you should be able to know how this plays, and you can see the massive gold discrepancy right now in this mid lane. And Woshi Jianzihao struggling. A big gold discrepancy right now. 500 gold. That's almost a kill and a half, just straight up in CS. Woshi Jianzihao having some difficulty and needs to figure out the answer to stay in this game to make sure the Yasuo doesn't get out of control yet again, just like he did last game.
Yeah, there's a lot of onus right now on Woshi Jianzihao just to make sure that as you mentioned, the native 192 doesn't have free reign. It's going in here because when you combine that with something like Whimsical Melody on this Riven, there's a lot of engaged potential going in right there. And we combine that with the Kha'Zix, again, it's point-and-click deletion going on in. A lot of this is going to be on Thonk, as you mentioned, in that steadfast presence to try and shut down the mobility in these team fights, making sure that they are not going to be able to dive with impunity onto this backline. A lot of it also is going to go onto that Morgana with this black shield. She needs to make sure that the timing on that is perfect.
Yeah, and it doesn't seem like it's that hard, but it definitely is when you're worried about so many different things that can land, as well as these awkward angles that Billytoe is able to land a hook right on cue. Right on cue. There's the black shield, though the box is there, but he's actually stuck back in a little bit of a weird spot. Rocket Jump going to get Tristana out for now, as we do see all the members rotating in. Billytoe against the world. He will finally fall, but that was a pretty heavy committal for St. John's, capitalizing on overextension from Villanova. That's right, and not a lot to pay for it either. The shove in the mid lane forced the native 192 back. Oh, the Glacial Prison lands. Glacial Prison forcing out the flash there from Pixel Drum, but they're just going to look to turn and go right back into an objective here towards this Drake. Yeah, no ward here. Flash already removed. Not worth dying over an Ocean Drake. Pixel Drum will back off. So good play here by St. John's. Jian Zihao shoves in the mid lane, forces the native 192 to back, miss a wave, and then is able to rotate down to the bottom side of the map without any punishment. You look around, there was nowhere for anyone on Villanova to go. Top lane still engaged, and even if Whimsical Melody wanted to TP, the Poppy has multiple ways to cancel the TP. So just a good rotation play by St. John's. There's a small window to do it without punishment. You can see that's the interaction there. That's not very fun. Good knockback by Thonk, but he's in trouble. He is in trouble. Cutting the wave now is the native 192, but not going to have enough minions here to do too much with it as the next wave is pushing in, though. Thonk needs to be a little bit cautious because we are actually seeing a potential rotation now coming back in, but Sejuani is there to make sure that they get out scot-free. Oh, Echo is looking in the river. And we'll realize, yeah, Yasuo is there. We don't know where Kha'Zix is. I'll back off. Good play by Thonk to buy himself time and not get caught up. That's how this lane is supposed to interact. You see it's almost like, hey, you see Billytoe winding up. It doesn't really matter if it looks like he's throwing at you or not. Just press E. Just get your spell shield up. It's probably going to hit you. And most of the times it does. Maybe not necessarily resulting in a kill, but definitely resulting in a lot of damage going your way. Now see the potential collapse coming in here in the mid. There's Sejuani in the flank. Wushi's Jianzilu is going to look to go in. The Echo is there as well. Finding the native 192. It's a 2v1 situation. Beautiful job getting the knockup. Looking for the ult as well. The TP is coming in, but it is Emberwarg on the flank, trying to make sure they secure this. It is the Sejuani in a bit of a rough spot, but that's the kill. Takes 3 members to take him down, though. Yeah, Wushi Jian Zihao getting very lucky as a hook does land. Spell shield will keep himself alive, but Jian Zihao gets very lucky that his teammate was able to get there on time. He tried to flash to get into the parallel convergence to get the stun down on the Yasuo. He missed it, but still, Fei Lu able to get in on time on the Sejuani and prevent the kill from happening. However, the big rotation from Emberwarg to make sure his 2 buddies could take down the 1 Yasuo means that bot lane turret was unprotected, and it's quite chipped up right now. It is indeed. I mean, to be fair, I think they needed to commit those resources, because if they didn't, that probably would have been Yasuo going absolutely clutch right there. But I like the fact that, again, they are turning their prioritization towards the mid lanes. We're seeing another fight potentially breaking out here. Pixel Drum is in a bit of a potentially rough spot. He's going to try and get the instant deletion where everybody realizes, uh-oh, I am not alone. There are multiple members of the team fight is start to break out as Billytoe is there. Pixel Drum is able to escape for now. The box goes out and starts to fight up. But there we go. The binding is finding the key target down there. The ult is going as well. On Cryonics, who is not able to himself up despite the rocket jump. But the native 192 is still alive, looking to go off in these fights. But the rest of the team is looking to TP in as Billytoe is in a bit of a rough spot. The rest of the team is going through on the native 192. He's trying to run out, trying to escape. But that's going to be the double kill going over that, making a triple throughout the side of St. John's. 4 members dead, I should say. Beautiful play from them, capitalizing on a misstep from Pixel Drum. Yeah, Whimsical Melody teleported earlier when they invested in the mid lane. This time, Poppy's able to join in on the fight. Pixel Drum doing what he's supposed to do, trying to find 1v1 picks. However, he found 4 members of St. John's rotating first. And keep your eyes on Emberwarg. Lands that little binding onto the Tristana. Tristana does get the rocket jump out, but there's the boomerang that follows. And Pixel Drum does not get anything for it. The AD carry Basham goes untouched throughout this fight. The native 192 almost picks up a knock up there, but it is 4 kills heading on over to the side of St. John's, and the Red Storm fans love it. They do indeed. St. John's up 6 kills to 2 in this game, of 500 gold as well to boot.
And this is exactly what they need right now in this matchup, and I think a lot of this has to do with the idea of the all-in initiation, the point and click. Villanova having a lot less of that here in this game. Yes, they do have the ability to all-in, to dive, to try and execute a backline, but the peel that's been going on right now has been fantastic from St. John, and not only that, it's been them dictating the pace of a lot of these fights. Sejuani was such a great pickup here for them. These Glacial Prisons have been on point, not only starting off these fights, but catching out key members on flanks and not allowing them to deal the damage they need to.
Yeah, I'd continue to be a little bit careful though, because the Tristana is starting to scale up. This turret's very low. One more auto attack might do it. Yeah. Oh, no, it did not do it. Cryonics starting to greed for it, and Bilito might have to cost his life. No, here goes Emberwork in a little bit of trouble. Does land the root onto Pixel Drum. Pixel Drum able to get away. Parallel Convergence stun will land onto Cryonics. He gets taken out. Echo gets to the rotation first. Where's the Yasuo? There's the Yasuo. Does have Steel Tempest ready for the knockup. Will land on one, but nice ulti backwards by Jianzi Hao. He said, how do you like that? The turret will fall, and St. John's turning around that gank attempt and take control of the game.
I feel like we were just here. I'm looking at 4 dead players on Villanova right now. That was absolutely sick. The Echo went off. The Chrono Break timing was absolutely perfect. Taking down the native 192 with a champion that he is known for. Like I said, St. John's, you know, feeling the energy right now of the crowd, but Villanova not out of this yet by any step. They're down 7 kills here, but the goal discrepancy isn't too massive, and they have done decent damage on the Rift so far to start this off. The turret's a little battered and bruised for St. John's. They definitely have the ability to get back into this, but it's going to be even tougher if St. John's is able to convert these kills into more objectives.
Yeah, and it was just a couple of auto attacks away, and you know, if I'm Cryonics, I feel like I would have made the same decision too. The turret is so low.
They baited him though.
I'd be interested to see how much health the turret has left. It probably has to be in the single digits, because Cryonics thought it was just one auto attack away, went in twice, and got himself in trouble, and that's how that whole engage started. Bilito decided, hey, look, you're not going to make it out, so I'll die for your sins. Nope, here comes everyone else, and it's an easy kill. There it is. Boop, there's your
One
boop.
more.
And it's gone.
It was one auto. It was probably single digits. You're not wrong on that one. So they are able to take it down, and St. John's very smartly not trying to contest that for any weird reason, realizing when your lane is, the turret is gone, they're going to try and find value elsewhere on the map, or at least deny Villanova from doing that, as the Rift Herald is going to be the next target here for both teams. This is what we mentioned before, St. John's, they got 4 kills, they got a turret, but what else are they looking to do with it here? They need to make sure they secure this objective, but as the rest of Villanova is looking to go in, try and steal this out or return this right now. This is the Rift Herald going over and the fight breaking out simultaneously. The ult from Yasuo is going on in, but this is Sejuani standing strong as the tank there. Morgana is getting picked up, the Pixel Drum on the flank. Beautiful job there, finding the death sentence, and the death sentence indeed is Thonk is now the next one up. Trying to use the steadfast presence, but it's not nearly enough. So much damage going on through the side of Villanova, but they're the ones finding the kills.
Yeah, you need to be your front line for your Sivir. Too many people trying to play the hero for St. John's, and it's just an easy pickoff. You have a Yasuo who can make his own plays. You have a Riven who loves a 1v1. You have a Kha'Zix that wants to be isolated as well, and when you have 3 different fights, that's not how your team composition works, St. John's, and Villanova taking advantage of it and will get the Rift Herald off of it as well. They could have just backed off, let the Rift Herald reset. Instead, they're going to lose multiple turrets here, and the game swings back in Villanova's favor.
So despite 8 unanswered kills from St. John, 1 spread out, scrappy team fight where Villanova were able to make their picks, and they're back in this now, taking down multiple turrets, and that's what we're talking about. They finished what they started, picking up that Rift Herald, and then they use it to perfection, capitalizing on kills and utilizing it to take further advantage on the map.
Yeah, there was a ping to hit the Rift Herald. It just looked like a little bit of miscommunication, as well as the fact that Thonk did not have TP. You're opting into a 5v4 fight. You can't do that. It's simple math. Simple math as we take a look at how this works out again. You could see the native 192 and Emberwork. Emberwork's like, hey guys, let's just hit this. Hey guys, let's just hit this. Who's going to hit that? No one can hit that. And now the Sivir is stuck on the top side of the map against both a Kha'Zix and a Riven. Great hook by Bilito. You know those are going to land. And unfortunate for Thonk, I believe he was charging up his Keeper's Verdict to knock everyone away and immediately gets canceled out. Just unfortunate event of errors for St. John's. Good job by Villanova capitalizing on the hesitation of St. John's.
Yeah, I really feel like a lot of that had to do with Woshi, Feiji Lu not quite being in the position there. He's the jungler. He's the one he needs to make sure he's being a part of these fights over these objectives like the Rift Herald. Him being off to the side, Not really ideal right there. The team not on the same page, as you said, of whether or not they actually wanted to contest that. They needed, if they'd made the decision to either all go for it and all try and fight it, might have gone better. Or if they decided to not and fight just in the river as it was, also might have been. Instead, well, they tried to do two different things at once and they got paid for it.
Yeah, they paid for it. That's why it's normally said that one person following a good call and 4 people doing a bad call is worse than 5 people following a bad call. Just be on the same page.
Yep.
And right there, even with St. John's' lead, I think they could have been on like 2 different pages, but they were on 3 different pages on that one, and it cost them as, Bilito.
Bilito, uncharacteristic miss there on that death sentence, doesn't find the Echo up here in the top. But we look towards the side of St. John's. They're not out of this yet. They have taken a few turrets. They do need to try and look to open up this last Tier 1 mid-turret here to really open up the vision game or control of their opposing team's jungle. They are still ahead in kills, but they are now behind once again in gold. However, they do have the late game scaling of Bastion. We cannot deny how effective Sivir can be here in the late game. However, Cryonics as well has a champ that can scale. Tristana can go, maybe not toe-to-toe, but pretty even, at least in the hyper late game with this Sivir.
Yeah, Sivir will be a nuisance. The range that Tristana gets, though, one of the few champions that like puts a damper on the scaling of the Sivir. But now it's the go time.
Go time onto the native 192. He's with the target, taking the lantern back, and now it is the jungle of Sejuani. He's in a lot of trouble. They do dive in, able to pick up that kill onto the mid. Nice enough with the death sentence, pulling them right back in. That's absolutely massive. Bilito finding it, forcing the flashback over the wall. Multiple fights breaking out as Emberwork is going to be the target here, but on the flank, here comes Thonk to try and keep the team in line. However, this is the re-initiation. Bastion, though, going a little bit too far. Whimsical Melody being an absolute monster, and it is Thonk now in a bit of a rough spot, facing the 2v1. Multiple fights breaking out simultaneously. Cryonics holds true, steadfast, right on through all of it. There's 4 members. Villanova's still alive.
Yeah, St. John's opts into yet another split fight. You do not want to fight that way. Yes, the native 192 is very low. Understand that. So you pick up this early kill, but then see what happens. Watch what happens after this. The jungler and the AD carry get split up. You see the dive and then the ult backwards by Echo. Okay, that makes sense. Help out your Echo now. Fight for the Echo. Fight for the Echo. Instead, for whatever reason, the Echo flashes away from the rest of the team, and then Whimsical Melody is able to join in and solo out the backline. There's no one there to CC him, able to run amok. The Poppy has one job. It's sit on the Riven. Instead, he gets caught in no man's land trying to help everybody out because everyone's asking for help if you're one of the carries on the team. Thonk not able to do his job. Jian Zihao, I think, makes the biggest mistake there. He separates himself from his team. Sit with your team. You fight as a team if you're St. John's. Villanova thrives in these guerrilla-style type fights. You want to split off if you're Villanova, and they continually get those fights.
Yeah, St. John's want to be together. They want to play around the Sejuani. They want to play around the Poppy, have that clear delineation of front and back line, allow Bastion to sit back, and allow Emberwork to play support. Yeah, you can have the Echo maybe try and find some of these flank plays, maybe try and find an execution or two, but the more you play to the one-on-one style, into a Riven, into a Kha'Zix, into a Yasuo, that's how you lose.
That's why they find themselves a little bit further behind right now. Emberwork trying to do the good thing and ward up early, and he's bringing buds because he knows it's not very safe. They're able to get the ward down, and Pixel Drum just going from bush to bush, realizing what is warded and what is not. But St. John's slowing down the game. The Drake is gone. Baron is on the map, but it is relatively early for this team without a true tank to take it down. So the fight over here, this is where it gets a little...
This is where it gets dicey.
Yeah, because you think that this is a good spot for a team fight if you're St. John's, but again, the walls of the jungle, no clear lines of fighting, make it difficult for AD carries to want to fight there, especially against a bunch of assassins.
Yeah, the assassins are going to have a pretty fair time right now. Ooh, and especially if Bilito can land one of these death sentences here. Keep an eye on that for sure. As we are seeing the Riven doing a great job of split pushing in the mid simultaneously. That's going to have to be dealt with. The response is going to have to come in, but Bilito might have put himself in a bit of a rough spot, but the native 192 is actually feeling the ire of the Sejuani. He's going in the stun, the CC, the follow-up, instant deletion there. Pixel Drum's now running in, waiting. Whoa, wait a second, this is not my team, hey-oh! And Sejuani is trying to chase this down, but there might be a bit of a misplay here, a bit of an overextension. Now the rest of the team is going back in, forced to try and deal with it, but Bilito is doing a great job. Cryonics is doing so much return damage.
In the mid
lane.
And
all the while, though, Riven is doing Riven things. Bilito finally does fall, but at what cost here for St. John's? Pixel Drum is keeping them at bay for so long. Tristana is here, but look at what's happening in the mid too. Cryonics is likely going to fall as well, but the team, the damage has been done.
All right, yeah, so the 1v1 in the mid lane does go down. All 4 members of Villanova finally fall, but this gives an opportunity for St. John's for a risky Baron. They probably have to do it, but we've seen Whimsical Melody at 4-0-2 is super fed. Very, very fed, and the health bars of St. John's are very low. This could be an explosive play here for Villanova, and one of the last plays that St. John's can make before they get outscaled. Whimsical Melody now being countered by Thunk. Thunk, do your job, son. He's sitting on top of the ribbon. No broken wings here. It does look like they might be able to hold it. Nice binding over the wall by Emberwork, and now Whimsical Melody on the back foot, going the wrong way, chasing the ribbon. Probably not the best idea, but good Baron call by St. John's to keep everyone alive. The native 192 trying to join in the fight as well. But St. John's picking up a big team fight, losing their inhib for it. I think overall, though, this puts them back in the driver's seat, forcing Villanova to get onto the defensive. Take a look at this one more time. Echo so patient on the top side of the map, waiting for the wind wall to head on in. All the while, you can see the fight going back and forth. An early Glacial Prison had to be used by Feiji Lu to keep his AD carry safe. The binding does land onto the Tristana, but Bilito does a great job buying so much time. Good spell shield, keeps everyone safe. Now onto the backside, get rid of the initiator. Bilito goes down, and then right here, Pixel Drum tries to flash. I don't know what Pixel Drum was trying to do, flash forward, get a kill. All the while, Poppy cannot handle the ribbon anymore. There's no point in trying to 1v1, so he's able to hold off. This is a solid resource trade by both these teams.
It is. I mean, St. John's,
That's not a good resource trade.
This is not the trade you want to make if you're Pixel Drum right now.
Oh, he's alive.
He's alive a little bit longer.
Is he?
Oh, no, he's not.
Bilito with the BM flashing out of the way.
I mean, hey, he was pretty much dead regardless. Bilito's like, I still have full HP. Why should I be the one to die here?
Because you're the support.
Okay, yeah, that's actually the reason, though, Degon. Come on. That's no fun.
Oh, boy. So St. John's able to pick up a kill. Super Minion still barreling down the base, but now they have first rights to the bottom Dragon Pit. However, Riven's on the top side of the map, hitting away at that turret once the minions come on in. St. John's is going to have a lot of questions, and one of them is not getting hooked. Oh boy, Yasuo picking up the AD carry. There's another hook landing. Bilito in prime form. Was there one more left in Bilito's case? No, he's going to miss because of the Zhonya's, but he has done his job. Tristana picking that one up as well, and now this is not a matchup that you want if you're Thonk. A fed Riven under turret. Doesn't really matter, just dishing out damage against the Poppy, and Poppy now not under turret anymore. He's in trouble.
One more, commit the flash for it, get it done. Whimsical Melody playing a song of death and destruction over to the side of St. John's. Here at Call, oh my, Whimsical Melody is styling right now, feeling fed, feeling powerful, and Thonk just misunderstanding the trade, the interaction, how that was going to unfold. Way too much confidence there, thinking he could still play with this Riven.
Yeah, and I think it's starting to be a little bit of tilt here for St. John's. You have multiple champions that can prevent Bilito's effectiveness. You have a spell shield on Sivir. You have the black shield that provides a spell shield on Morgana. And still somehow this man that carries the scythe continues to find hook after hook, engage after engage, and pulls his team back after it looks like hope is starting to wane away. Bilito has played out of his mind, and now Emberwork in a bit of trouble. Nice root holds Pixel Drum in place. They're not going to chase, as probably shouldn't chase into the darkness that is their own jungle right now. But back to Bilito, just fantastic play yet again, week after week.
Yeah, week after week, he just plays so consistently on this Thresh, but it's still not a champ that a lot of people feel warrants the ban, which I think is a mistake in a lot of situations here, just because he's able to be such an impactful playmaker. And so consistently, it's not like some games he's good with it, and some games it's every single game. And I feel like Villanova is feeding off of this energy here. Every single one of these members is looking to try and one-up one another here up on the big stage. And I know everybody's watching. They want to kind of put their stamp on this, not only this game, but this season.
Yeah, and, you know, it now becomes an issue of bans. How do you ban against this Villanova team? It's very confusing, very difficult. If you do ban away the Thresh, then you probably get rid of the Yasuo. If you get rid of the Yasuo, then you don't have to worry about the Malphite, because you're not going to pick Malphite by itself, probably. But then you have Zac still left up. Here comes the engage, though.
Going gold now. Trying to stay alive a little bit longer, but still finds another death sentence. That cooldown is so low in the late game, but he's not able to get the kill. himself back in perfect position over the wall there. Echo taking a lot of damage, but not securing the kill is Villanova. They have more turrets in their sights. They want to take down another in-hit because that would open up so many bigger micro plays. The split push pressure is real coming in right now from Villanova. The in-hit has respawned in the mid, taking off a little bit of this pressure, but instantly Kha'Zix is there to shut it right back down.
Yeah, and there's decent damage here on the side of St. John's with your Sivir and with your Echo that has 7 kills, but Villanova is just not standing in place. We were wondering before, why can't St. John's find the fight that they wanted in game 1?
Oh, no.
Uh-oh, Pixel Drum getting a little bit further up, though, and he will be able to live, but here comes Yasuo.
Here comes Yasuo, the native 192, instantly getting shut down, though. The baiting is being baited by his own teammate there, it seems. Whimsical Melody is deciding it's his turn to pick up the slack right now, diving into the turret, particularly once again, his Pixel Drum going back into the enemy. Instantly shut down, though, by Basham. Nicely done. The damage from the Sivir is finally starting to come online. Is Billytoe trying to help with the teammate. Again, they instantly shut down underneath the turret, but this, oh no, the Riven is still alive, trying to go off a little bit longer. They need to continue to shut this down. I think that likely that will be it. Whimsical Melody trying to get out now because they're walking them right back into Cryonix, who's able to do so much damage in return, surviving for
Cryonix
so long.
Untouched.
I cannot believe this. Cryonix is still dishing this damage. Thonk trying to survive through it. Cryonix, the menace in the base of St. John. They just don't know how to deal with this.
Yeah, they finally get rid of the Riven and the GA of the Riven. A huge shutdown bonus heading on over to somebody on the team. I don't know who it was. I think it might have been the Echo. And that's huge for him as we take a look at how this unfolded yet again. Basham doing a solid job, getting away, flash forward, Pixel Drum biting off more than he could chew, so in goes the Thresh, but then Exhaust catching out the native 192, awkward ult backwards by Feiji Liu. Doesn't hit anyone, Wind Slash gets everyone low, and then Pixel Drum yet again. That's 2 overextensions in one fight by the Kha'Zix. Eventually, the Riven able to pick up the kill and then turns into the menace that he is. Sejuani able to stop someone, Billytoe trying to help out his Riven, nowhere to go. And then look at how much time a fed Riven is able to buy. Stopwatch going down, and Cryonix just dishing out so much untouched damage. Very close to getting the resets. The kill does head on over to the Echo. So this Echo getting bigger and bigger. 1,000 gold heading his way. 8-2-7. Maybe don't count out St. John's quite yet. But again, Villanova needs to not opt into these 5v5 team fights. They want spread out fights. They want uncoordinated fights. That's where they're doing the best. St. John's, for whatever reason, keeps giving it to them. We wondered why, oh wow, the Kha'Zix able to slink away because of the camouflage. We're wondering why St. John's wasn't able to do it last game, in game 1. Villanova's putting on a masterclass on how to do it. You just keep weaving in and out. Nice hook gonna start off the fight though.
Nice hook looking to start things off here. Emberwork, though, maybe slipping a little bit too far forward. The native 192 and crew are looking for any opening they can find. Nicely done from the Poppy to being such a deterrent to this continuous aggressive flame. Not that it's actually stopping Villanova, because especially Pixel Drum right now, he's determined. There is only one direction, it is forward. There's no retreat, there's just advancing in a different direction. And that direction is constantly into the side of St. John's here is the 5th Drake. The 3rd one now to go over towards the side.
Aggressive.
Villanova, but this is the all-in Baron call right now. They realize they need to make a big play if they're going to have any chance of taking this in right now. But Villanova is aware.
Oh,
there's
nice.
the ult knocking them right on out. That's going to slow things down quite a bit here. And Baron now up for grabs to the side of St. John, but still at half HP. Cryonix and crew definitely have the option to go right on in. Never taking a lot of damage to start things off. Winscombe is deep in it on the pit. Lots of damage going on through.
Oh,
There's
no.
the Baron getting picked up by St. John's, but all of the team members are already in shambles. Lots of damage, still trying to go back through in return, but no! It is still 4 members alive for the side of Villanova as they continue on to get kills into St. John's. Sivir, the last one, standing back at the opposing team's jungle, but it's too little too late. As we see St. John's trying to hold on to this base, but this is going to be tough.
Yeah, and St. John's had to make a play. I think that's the right call, but unfortunately not enough members make it out alive. Just one auto attack right there, chunking Basham. He's going to take a turret shot right there. Basham able to heal up from the charging shot and does have Baron empowered minions, but one hook here could end it all. Billytoe inches away from ending the game, and this is it. St. John's season coming down right now to just 1 member. Basham does finally get hooked. Here's his buddy Emberwork, but it's too little too late. Maybe, oh, turret shot goes down. Billytoe in a little bit of trouble, so they do hold, but everything that they fought for, the Baron buff, is now gone. Double kill heading on over to Emberwork. He dedicates that last one to his girlfriend, heading his way over, baiting out with the Zhonya's. Buys a little bit more time so St. John sticks together for a little bit longer in the 2019 Big East season.
Not going down without a fight. Let's look at, speaking of fights, let's look at that one again, D-God.
Yeah, this is a good call, but you got to know Whimsical Melody is coming in. Instead, he is able to get the Broken Wings knock up Where is your top laner, Thonk, putting down the Steadfast Presence? Turns out he's dead because he wasn't ready for it. Good ult to start things off, but then just one play by a Riven, and that's the thing with this Villanova team. They're full of studs. These are studs that can make plays over and over again from multiple different roles. The native 192, we've talked his praises. He's sitting at 3-7. Right now, it's the Whimsical Melody show.
Oh, yeah.
And they're still in the game because of him. And on the bottom side of the map, Cryonics and Bilito coming into last week, the highest KDA of all bot laners, of all players in the league. Another person you can put the carry who can put the carry pants on, one leg per person, obviously,
yes,
as a bot lane duo.
Yeah.
And it's just very difficult to play against. I applaud St. John's for continually fighting back, but they've got to find a way to pick the fight that they want.
Well, this looks like it's going to be the fight right here as Villanova is looking to push in and just end this game right here, right now. The Inhib, once again, under threat. We did the Sejuani trying to be the front line. Whimsical Melody is going to be the target. Nicely done with the Steadfast Presence, trying to keep him alive. The heal is there, but he's instantly forced to use the res.
Watch out for
right
Yasuo.
now, but on the flank, Bilito is there creating a lot of space. There goes the Yasuo, though, and the Riven ult as well to do so much return damage. However, St. John's is somehow surviving through this, staying alive. Cryonics forced to use the rocket jump to escape, and somehow St. John's looking to turn this around.
Yeah, huge flash backwards there by Basham after originally getting caught out by the damage from the Yasuo. He stays alive, and St. John's turns this one around. It looked very dire at first after missing a couple of skill shots. Instead, St. John's finally taking down the longest standing mid turret in the history of League of Legends. Quote me on that one. At 34 minutes, take a look at this one more time. It all starts with the Echo getting caught out, the hook barely missing here, and then keep your eyes on Basham and the native 192. Whimsical Melody gets caught, not able to get out, forcing the team back in, and then there it is, the GA goes down, but keep your eyes on native 192, gets the knock up, and look at Basham, able to heal through, flash away, and then auto. No one can get to the back line. A huge four-man play backwards does a good job, but no one else is doing anything, but coming back into picture-in-picture, St. John's going for more.
St. John's returning the favor right now, able to take down the mid tower. The Inhib is gone. Oh my. This is an interesting position right now because Pixel and crew are going to try and get some retaliative damage in.
This looks like overstay.
This looks like overstay.
I'm just going to say it out there. We've said it for weeks now. This looks like overstaying by St. John's.
Okay, but they returned. They returned the favor. So now they're actually ahead in Inhibs. They are ahead in Inhibs right now. They basically evened up all the turrets. They've opened up paths to success right now. And look at the gold, Degon. St. John's has swung it back around. Tristana had 1,000 gold bounty on her head going over the way of St. John's, and now the opportunity to look to get 6 stacked, to get all fed up as we head into the that late game at 35 or so minutes here as we look towards this next major objective here. I think it's going to be a dragon.
Yeah, the dragon is starting to be slowly converged upon. Very close. It is the Elder Dragon, so important for both teams. 2 Infernal Drakes on the side of Villanova will be amplified. On the opposite side, St. John's has a decent mixture. I would say less fun dragons. But here it goes. Good itemization by Basham to keep off, to add on a lot of armor and survivability. Oh, it's already at half though.
It's already at half. It is going to go back, though. Leash reset here. Oh, on the flank, they find Whimsical Melody. They're getting caught out by the Whimsical Melody's in a lot of trouble right now. Trying to stay alive a little bit longer. Is not going to be able to do it. It's going to go down. However, all the while, Villanova was able to pick up the dragon through that. And as you mentioned, they are now going to look to destroy. Oh, are we going to look at a base race right now, Degon?
This looks like it might possibly be a base race to end this match. TP down to the bottom side. I'd give it over to the side of Villanova. I think Woji Jianzihao might have bit off a little bit more than he could chew, but not exactly sure quite yet. You have an opportunity for a 5v4. Instead, they're going to opt into a 4v4. No, it's a 3v4 because Kha'Zix had to recall. Hook going to land. This is awkward for both teams right now. St. John's not having the start that they want. Woshi Jianzihao might be able to 1v1. He's able to 1v1 Pixel Drum, and now the rest of Villanova on the retreat. Basham able to pick up a second kill. Bilito goes down. This might be all she wrote. Woshi Jianzihao and the rest of the St. John boys holding their water and making the right decision, going right down into the base.
They have minions pushing in here as well. Nexus turrets are going to be the next one up on the menu. They have the damage to do it. This is Villanova looking like it's in a a rough spot right now.
All right,
the team is
native.
trying to go right on through. Whimsical Melody's going to try and find the initiation of the back of Broken Wings, trying to throw the ult onto the Basham, and we'll be able to find some Whimsical Melody in a rough spot. Native 192 on the flank as well for the peeling out beautifully. End the game. Click on the Nexus if you're the side of St. John's, and they are going to do so. That is going to be it. GG St. John's take game number 2.
What a game. What an ending. GGs were already coming out of the chat, but they turn it back around, hang it around the Nexus, turn back the fight, and great catch there. Baron throw, Baron turnaround. What a play there, and what a gutsy call by the St. John's team.
The decision-making was absolutely perfect. They saw the opening. They said we could tunnel vision on this Elder Dragon, or we can try and pick up the kill that might be more valuable for us to end this game. They find the kill they need to, but then they split push. They send the Echo to continue down there. Will the 4 of them go back? They find an additional pick. They snowball through the mid, and by that point, they staggered up the deaths. That the buff doesn't matter. They can just push right on through into the Nexus, and they take the win.
Yeah, and you know, you look at it, and it was basically, hey, look, we have an assassin that thrives in 1v1 situations in the form of a Kha'Zix. Let's put him up against the Echo. I think you could have had, and the effectiveness of the Kha'Zix is better alone than it is the Yasuo, because you have two, right? You could send the Yasuo down to the bottom side of the map, but then Kha'Zix doesn't really help out the team as much in a group of 3. So I think that's the right decision by Villanova, and it was a straight 1v1. Who's going to win it? Who has the bigger cojones? And right there, Woshi Jianzi Hao finding the victory that he's been looking for all the time for quite some time here, and able to pick that one up against the Kha'Zix and break the game open.
Absolutely stellar play. The player who, of course, stepped up midway through the season here, coming on in a big way. The player we highlighted is, who is this coming out of nowhere?
Yeah.
Making a name for themselves once more. Absolutely phenomenal. That chrono break timing was sick.
Yeah, it was huge and dealt a ton of damage there against the Kha'Zix. Great play from him to break it open, and then a good chase by everyone else, sticking together, not worrying too much about the Elder Dragon empowered group of 3 and saying, hey, look, stop the backs, we're going to end the game.
They're going to do just that. Let's take a look at the highlights from that last game, because there were many who deserve some re-looking at here. Some of these fights early on set the tone for what was going to be an all-out scrappy war from start to finish.
Yeah, but St. John's took a fantastic early lead here in terms of kills. They had control of the game, and then it was a couple of opportunities, and then they started opting into very bad fights, and this was one of the worst of them at all. There was 3 fronts on this fight. You had the Echo go to the left, you had Thunk in the middle by himself, and then you had 3 members on the right, and Whimsical Melody got huge off of that fight, picked up several kills, and then this one was a good decision by St. John's to take this fight here, but you got to see the power of the Ribbon. Whimsical Melody able to just slow down Thunk. He said, hey, look, you can stop my hops for about 5 seconds. After that, I can solo you 1v1. And this one here, I thought this one was really tough. They really wanted the Infernal Drake. Instead, it was another split up fight that the rest of the team was able to pick up. In Villanova, with their 3 major carries in the Ribbon, the Kha'Zix, and the Yasuo, that was all she wrote. But then keep your eyes on the native 192 getting the pop-up. Basham able to flash out and just heal up throughout this last fight. That was intense.
Absolutely intense. And to celebrate this last little victory here, we have a couple of members on the side of St. John's joining us now. Once again from the party, all smiles over here. Welcome back. Congrats on that. Okay, that was intense. You guys giving me heart palpitations over here.
Yeah, tell me about it. It was a pretty fight-heavy game, that I want to say. So.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, how did it feel? Because there was a couple moments in that game where you truly were back against the wall. How did you stay calm in that situation? How do you say, no, guys, we still got this. Keep fighting. We can take out the win. How do you stay settled in that situation?
Just for my coach here, they're asking how we stay calm in situations where we're backed up against the wall.
Well,
go ahead.
Okay. In game 1, obviously we didn't do too well, but throughout the game, our players were on alert to see what weaknesses we had and what strengths they portrayed. I took notes in my own little notebook, and we were able to adapt to the situation because we knew we had a plan. We stayed calm because we were able to know we will be able to improvise, adapt, and overcome any weaknesses that we had.
I'm loving the fact that every good coach has like the little notebook so that you can keep the notes. Thank you, Lemonation, for starting that trend from there. Lawrence, you have had one heck of a season. How would you encapsulate the season's end so far for you guys?
How would you encapsulate the season's end so far?
Sorry, what?
How would you encapsulate the season's end so far?
I would say that for our first season ever, it's been an incredibly exciting event for myself and all of the players involved. we certainly made a name for ourselves out there. We have plenty of people who have now heard of St. John's University, and we're excited to see where the future holds. So thank you for ESL for all of these wonderful games, and certainly to the opportunity for the players and myself to be able to portray ourselves and represent our university in a wonderful arena.
Well, definitely a pleasure to have you here. You know, congrats again on that win. And again, good luck. Future seasons, of course, going to be a thing. Excited to have you joining us here in the Big East once again. Yeah, thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you guys. It was
Thank you very much.
one fun game.
Well, as you can see, spirits are still high. You know, they split the series up. It's always good to go out on a loss. They don't care if they're out of playoff contentions, or always better go out on a win. Sorry. Sorry. Hey, look, that was it. Look. Do you hear how fast I talk in these games sometimes, guys? My brain just doesn't catch up. Don't worry about it. Always good to go out on a win. You know, and that's the way they wanted to end it there on their own terms.
Yeah, I'm sure Villanova enjoyed going out on a loss right there. You know how to do that.
Come on, they have more games at least to play.
Yeah, they do. They still have one more big series against DePaul, and I think with that matchup, there's something to be learned here. I think we're forcing the Yasuo pill down everyone's throat right now, and that might be the downfall of Villanova. I liked it in game one. It was very, very clear how the native 192 was going to play this Yasuo. I didn't like it as much in game two. It was a lot of set up on your own, make your own kill, make your own plays, but that takes a team to play into the type of fights that you wanted. And St. John's took those fights. This is an inexperienced team. This is a team that hasn't played an organized play all that often, and they had a very clear team composition of how to counter it, which was fight as five. And every time they did, even when things looked dire, even when they were a little bit further behind, they were able to win. So Villanova needs to do a better job of fight selection if they want to win not just next week against DePaul for the #1 seed, but through the playoffs and beyond. Because this is a team full of talent. This is a team that has championship caliber players. But when you let your decision-making go out the window, it's not very good.
Yeah, you can have the best players in the world, but if you're not making the right decisions, not putting them in positions to have success, well, that's where you're going to find a loss there. They still took the series 1-1, though, of course. They were able to take game #1 in pretty strong fashion. Let's take a look back at our standings here to get an overview of where all these teams are. DePaul 9-1, Villanova 8-2, not quite able to go into that set tied. St. John's ending the season 5-7, which means we're looking at a locked top four: Seton Hall, Butler, Villanova, and DePaul, the order of which still up for grabs, but we have our playoff teams.
That's right. Seton Hall and Butler tied their series 1-1. Villanova and DePaul play next week in a matchup of the Titans. They have a possibility to see who is the #1 team as we take a look at the schedule right here.
Ooh.
There it is at the top of the schedule, Villanova and DePaul. After that, Butler and Providence and Marquette and Seton Hall. But all eyes are on that match #1 right on the docket.
So be sure to tune in next week to stay up to date on the action. We start at 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern right here, twitch.tv/ESL_LOL. Give the channel a follow wherever you happen to be watching it right now for more amazing collegiate action here in the Big East. Be sure to also hit us up on Twitter at ESL Collegiate. Stay up to date with all the amazing games in this conference and others. For myself and Verum, from Degon here on the desk, and all these amazing games, it's you. We'll see you next week.
Brr, 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 brr.